Well, I think that preparedness, natural disasters can happen to anyone, and preparedness, the role of the first interveners, how do you deal with the public? What is the first information? I think this kind of sharing from people who had a real experience, who also handled it pretty well, I think, is very helpful. Plus, we saw some technologies that can help improve both early warning and also the buildings. And it just reminds us that disasters can happen all over the world. And then also through China, there is this major fault line that is where over a dozen earthquakes in the last 100 years have happened up and down the fault line. And so it's particularly important for cities and villages there to protect themselves.
Yeah.
So we're investors, socially responsible investors, so we think about making money, but most importantly, how to make a society and how to invest in companies that have the social responsibility. So companies that care enough about the workers and the environment and the structure so their buildings are safe. We're also investors here in China in the China Environment Fund, which is a fund that invests in companies that help protect the environment or do things like organic farming and bring new ways of having more ecological, sustainable development. So we're investors in that respect, based in Washington, D.C., the Calvert funds.
So how do you see in the future in the Hanwang, if we have the foreign along with the industry park, will that be a new way for people to know, oh, that's the things we can develop here?
Right, I think that you can't do everything, so you need to have a couple focus that you can help teach and educate. For example, one area we're interested in is transportation. How do we do transportation systems that integrate a cell phone with dynamically updated computer models to move buses and other public services around so that we can reduce the cost on the environment of transportation, which is, and also make it more convenient for citizens to not need to own cars and yet be able to get around, which makes more resources available to education and other issues in the family. So I think the forum needs to take some examples and drill down into how this can really affect and benefit people's lives on very specific examples. I think sometimes, we have the big ideas and the big conversations, and I think that like in agriculture, they have a perfect opportunity as well.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to those developments.
So from your personal feeling, how do you feel about the Hanwang Forum in the future? They can do something for the world.
Right. Well, I think that, of course, there are many forums, and I think Hanwang has an opportunity to build a special kind of both European, some American, and Chinese kind of sharing of both technologies. But it isn't just about technologies that are technical. It's also about social technology, social infrastructure. How do you create happy communities? Well, how can we make a life in towns happier and yet less energy requirement?
So that's a very important issue in China, I think,
Yeah,
especially,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.